Today we geek out about parenting is easy. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Lee with Geek City USA here, and today we take a look at Lunarbaboon's Parenting is Easy. Now this is a 2 to 4 player game in which the adults take on the role of the kids whose end goal is to drive the parents as nuts as possible. And the goal is to cause as much chaos so you can place your cubes and ultimately, hopefully, take on the area majority to score extra bonus points. Now, I'll take you over here, I'll give you a real brief overview on how the game is played, and then we'll come back here and I'll give you our thoughts on the game. All right, this is Parenting is Easy. Now, obviously, this is not a production copy of the game. This is a print and play that I put together real quickly based on some early print and play files that I was sent, and I just print them out on my inkjet printer. I sleeved some cards just so that way I could get the game to the table. So if you want to see what the final product's going to look like, definitely check out the Kickstarter page for more information. Now, in Parenting is Easy, we play kids whose end goal of the game is to just drive the parents nuts, to cause as much crazy as possible, and be able to take over the house with all their chaos and crazy. And you get points based upon how much crazy you spread, how much chaos you spread, and how much area you control as well. Now let me introduce you to our 3 players here. We have Cobra Commander, who is going to play as the blue kid. We have the Death Trooper, who's going to play as the gray kid. And then we have the Ultimate Warrior, who is going to play as the yellow kid. Now I've gone ahead and I put a card here next to each character just so you know which color they are playing. There's also a 4th color as well for Periwinkle, but we're not playing with that this game, so we only need the 3 colors here. Now each player is also going to get a card that indicates the other players. So as you play your cards, you're going to either be able to play them, in the case of Ultimate Warrior, on yourself or on one of the other players. So that's what these cards are used for. So we'll go ahead and hide all of these. You'll see that each player has all 3 colors. Just go ahead and hide those. And then we have these trouble cards, which are life events and sweetness and mischief. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to deal 3 to each character. So there's 1, 2, and 3. We'll set the deck over to here. And again, each player is going to put their pawn on the insanity scale here. And these are our chaos cubes that each player is going to have that we are going to use to place on the board as the game goes on. And we also have 1 die that we're going to use. Now, in the game, it has a 1, 2, and a 3 of red and a 1, 2, and a 3 of green. And basically, if you get the red, 1, 2, and 3, you're getting more insane, or if you get 1, 2, 3, you're getting more calm. And for this case, I figured 1, 2, and 3 is going to be green, so 1, 2, and 3, so the further down, the more you move this way. And then 4, 5, and 6 is going to go up. So basically, if you roll a 5, you're going to move up 1. If you roll a 4, you're going to move up 1. If you roll a 5, you're going to move up 2. If you roll a 6, you're going to move up 3. And just the opposite, if you roll a 1, you roll a 2, and if you roll a 3. I know it sounds confusing. I don't have fancy dice for this. I couldn't print a die. I could have put stickers on it, but you get what you get right now. Now, when you start the game, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to have a bad influence token. Now, this is just some currency from another game, but I'm going to use it as a crown to indicate which player is the bad influence. So to start off, who is the better bad influence other than Cobra Commander? My personal favorite character or from any kind of pop culture ever, my favorite, Mr. Cobra Commander. Anyway, he is going to start off as our bad influence. And then what's going to happen is the game is going to be broken into phases. Now the first phase is a trouble phase, and at this point, you're going to look at your cards, and of course you're going to have the 3 for who you're playing on, but you'll look at your cards here and you'll pick one that you're going to play. And you'll see here, like for example, this one is a life event for a lice scare, which is awesome if you're a parent. You brought a letter home from school and now your parents are burning all your clothes. Stop insanity scale. Next round, players start where they ended off on the insanity scale. And then we have mischief, for example here, argue over a thing that doesn't matter. If you have kids, this is a daily occurrence. He wants the blue cup. No, I'll have the blue cup. Tantrum in 3, 2, 1. Add +2 to yourself or another player on the insanity scale. And then we have sweetness. Make a craft at school. Aw, you were just doing what the teacher asked, and maybe that's why your parents aren't crazy right now. -1 to yourself or another player on the insanity scale. So what you'll do as player 1 is you will pick one of these cards. Now, when you go down, when you're going towards sweetness, that's not a good thing because you want these crazy cubes because you want to start gaining a majority in areas to score points. Each cube that you place down is worth a point, and then whoever holds the majority in an area, so for example, this bedroom with 2, if the game ended and it looked like this, well, black would get, or the gray player rather, would get the 2 points for this. Same thing in this room. If we had, a couple of gray cubes, a blue cube, and then say a couple of yellow cubes, in this case, the gray player would get the 5 points. Each player would get 1 point per cube, but then that bonus is gone to whoever has the majority. So you want to get some kind of insanity, but if you get too much crazy, you're going to lose a cube. So as you play these cards, it's going to move you up and down the insanity scale, and if you hit the very top, you're going to have to pull a cube off the board. If things are too happy, you're going to gain a cube because you're insanely happy. So when you're playing these cards, it's really, it's kind of a risk reward. You might be playing something that hurts your opponent in a huge way, but if the dice rolls a certain way or somebody else plays a card on them, you might have actually helped them more than hurt them. Or you might have overextended yourself and made yourself too nutso. So just something to keep in mind. So let's say now we're going to have Cobra Commanders play. Let's say -1 to yourself or another player. Let's say, Cobra Commander has never really been a fan of the Star Wars remakes because, G.I. Joe versus Star Wars, for me growing up, that was kind of my thing. Which do I like more, G.I. Joe or Star Wars? Easy, G.I. Joe all day long. So in secret, Cobra Commander will play the card that he wants to play as well as who he wants to play it on, and he'll put that card in front of him. I'll set that there. And then you go to the next player in line, and let's see what we have here. Sweetness fell asleep on you. You really tired yourself out by causing all this mischief. Surely Dad won't mind if you take a nap. -2 to yourself or another player on the insanity scale. We have a life event missing toy. Where is Mr. Hugglesworth? Man, this is the end of the world right here. Steal during the placement phase. Take another player's chaos cube off the board and replace it with your own from your reserve. And then finally, this one, mischief. It just so happened to work out. We had one of each type. There are 3 types. Sugar rush. No one was paying attention to your sugar consumption today, and now you can travel through time. +5 to yourself or another player on the insanity scale. So let's say the Death Trooper, never one to have much personality. He has a sugar rush, so he'll play that card on himself. And we'll just set these, I'll set them off over to here for now. And then finally, the Ultimate Warrior. Boy, the Sugar Rush card would have been perfect for the Ultimate Warrior. We have a life event of a play date. Can I have a few friends over from school? During your turn in the placement phase, take another player's cube off the board, replace it with your own from your reserve. You have a mischief card here, scream while on the phone. That's a daily occurrence. A parent is talking on the phone. This is the perfect time to test out all these grown-up words you've learned. Add +1 to yourself or another player on the insanity scale. Mom, mommy, mom, mother, mom. Mischief, ride on ceiling fan. Those pull off of the walls, trust me. I can fly, I am a mighty unicorn. Add +4 to yourself or another player on the insanity scale. So in this state, let's say that the Ultimate Warrior is going to play it easy, and he'll play this mischief card, which will give +1 crazy to himself, because we're going to play it on yellow. So that everybody has picked their cards. Now you go through the reveal phase, and starting with the player who is the bad influence, and then going around clockwise, you reveal your cards. So in this case, gray is going -1 to yourself or another player. So actually I misread that. So gray would get to pick this. So let's say he picked blue, and he wants to say -1 on another player. So he'll say -1 on the Death Trooper. So the Death Trooper would go down 1. Now the Death Trooper is going to reveal his card and say, you know what? I have a +5 to myself, so I will go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looking perfect for us so far. Finally, the Ultimate Warrior gets +1 crazy. And then that is the reveal phase. But we follow that with a third phase, which is the tantrum phase. So during the tantrum phase, whoever is the bad influence is going to roll the die. Remember, this is going to have 3 red and 3 green icons. So we'll roll it, and we rolled a 3, which we said is green 3, which means everybody is going to move 3 spots down towards the happy area. Okay, then we go ahead and dole out our cubes. So our Death Trooper here is going to get 1 cube because he's crazy. and as is the Ultimate Warrior. But if you see here, Cobra Commander is happy, so he gets 0 cubes. So we're going to move on to the placement phase, and you would start with whoever is the bad influence, in this case Cobra Commander, but he has no cubes to place. So the Death Trooper can go ahead and place a cube. Let's say he wants to get the majority in this big living room area that's a hot mess. And then Ultimate Warrior is going to think small. He's going to go into the garage, and that ends the first round. So everybody would go ahead and they're going to discard their cards, and they'll take their character cards back in their hand. And then everybody is going to draw back up to 3 of these trouble cards. And then the bad influence player is going to rotate to the next player. Everybody will go back to the starting space in the center of the board, and then you'll continue. Now, there are some cases where you don't adjust this scale, it stays for the next turn. There are other cases where you're able to play multiple cards in a turn. So let's just do another quick turn. We'll say the Death Trooper is going to play fell asleep on you, -2 to yourself for another player. And we will give this to, well, he'll give it to himself, so he can give it to somebody. Ultimate Warrior is going to, let's see what his cards are. A Pillow Fort, which every time I see this, I always read Pillow Fart. Anybody else? Pillow Fart? I don't know. So anyway, this is +1 to yourself for another player. So the Ultimate Warrior is going to play that on himself. And then we would go over to Cobra Commander. And what does the Cobra Commander want to do? Let's see. Well, we'll do Mischief on himself. So +2 to himself for another player. So then we would do the reveal starting with the Death Trooper. So the Death Trooper is going to get -2 to himself for another player on the insanity scale. Why would I have played that card? That's a dumb card. Maybe I'm nutso. He's going to get back at Cobra Commander instead. I got to pay better attention when I do this real quick. So Cobra Commander would move down 2 on the insanity scale. Ultimate Warrior is going to play this card, +1 to himself or another player. He moves up. And then finally, Cobra Commander, who was once a man, is now a snake, adds +2 to himself for another player. He's going to go ahead and obviously want to move himself up too. Then the Death Trooper would roll the dice, and this time a 1. So everybody is going to go down 1, because 1 for me was 1 green. And then you'll dole out the cubes. So everybody would get to place a cube, starting with the Death Trooper, so he can keep going for his majority here. You know, Ultimate Warrior can go for the majority here, and Cobra Commander can try to, you know, play where the Death Trooper's playing and get in on there. And now we're going to fast forward a little bit. So let's say now that we are at the end of the game. So when it comes time to total up the points, you would go through and count the number of cubes that each player has, as well as give each player the bonus for any rooms that they have the majority in. And if they had any of these cards, like these 2 life events that you'll see give additional points at the end of the game, you would add those to their total as well. So for example, if we're counting Cobra Commander's points, he would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then +4 because he has a majority here, so that's 18, +2, so that's 20 because he's a majority there. He's a majority here, so 22. So 22 points plus these 4 points, so Cobra Commander would have 26 points. The Death Trooper would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, +4 for the majority here, so 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, so he would have 17, so we have 26 and 17. And then finally the Ultimate Warrior, because this guy's a loser with no cards, the Warrior would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, +3, so 16, +5 for 21, right? And then plus another 6, wow, for 27. Ooh, +3 for 30, +2 for 32. So the Ultimate Warrior would have won Parenting is Easy in this example game. Now that is a really quick high-level overview how to play. Thank you to our special guests here. Now we're going to take you back up top and I will give you our thoughts on the game. All right, guys, so that was Parenting is Easy. Now, obviously, I have to start off by saying that wasn't a final copy of the game. That was not even a prototype copy of the game. That was a print and play copy that I threw together. So definitely don't judge the final game based upon the aesthetics of that. go to the Kickstarter page, check out what the game looks like to get a more detailed image of what the final product will look like. So prior to checking out the print and play for this game, I was not familiar with Lunarbaboon's art or webcomic or anything like that, but I'll say that the art style of the games is very simplistic and the comics are really funny. Just everything, as a parent, I have 3 kids, everything really resonated with me, from the floor is lava to pee jokes to every little bit of parenthood is featured in these cards. They did a really, really good job at summing parenthood up into a deck of cards. Now the gameplay of this game is really easy and simplistic. You're basically just going to play a card, play a cube, maybe roll a die around, and hopefully you're going to get more cubes than your opponent and be able to get some area majority out of it. But let's be honest here, is the real area where this shines is in the theme and the audience that it's really geared towards. If you're a parent, you're going to instantly be drawn to this game because of the humor and the relatability of it. We probably had more fun with this than we should. All of us that played this, we have kids, so it was really a riot getting to be able to play one of those cards that you could connect to. Hey, Netflix is down, it's the end of the world, what do we do? And you know, just trying to play a little bit of Take That and get the area majority and put your cubes out there really as a secondary to the overall experience of the game itself. Now I think the novelty about this game is definitely who you play it with. If you play it with other people that are going to be good-humored, good-natured, and if it's people who have some kind of investment in the game. I'm a parent, we played with other parents, it all hit home, we had a blast with it. I really like the detail in the cards. I can't say that enough. The babysitter card, we will sacrifice her to the gods of chaos. To me, that's hilarious. There's so much that really hits home that's just a lot of fun to laugh at, and it's a good game to just wind down with other parents. Now, I don't want to limit it and say that this is a game that's only for parents, because no, I don't think that's the case, because there is that area control portion of the game. But again, playing it with other parents was just an absolute blast for us. Now, all in all, I thought this project overall was a lot of fun. I would recommend you go over to the Kickstarter page, check out the project, check out Lunarbaboon in general, see if the webcomic is something that interests you, if the game is something that interests you. There's plushies, there's a lot of different stuff, and there's a lot of humor involved there. And from somebody who was totally new to it prior to this project, we had a good time discovering what Lunarbaboon has to offer. So I definitely go over there and take a look and see if it's something that interests you. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm Lee with Geek City USA. Be sure to comment down below, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and everything else. Once again, thank you for hanging out with us, and we will see you guys next time. Cheers.